Usher messaged me, he reached out to me, and he commented on the video that I made of him that went viral recently. And just wow. I mean, this community and the videos that we're making, it's getting big, and I am just grateful. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about P. Diddy, his house getting raided over sex trafficking allegations. We're also going to talk about the ship that crashed into the Baltimore Bridge. And we're also going to talk about Quiet on Set. It's a documentary that just came out that exposed Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider. So this week is going to be a fun one. Welcome to Exposing the Media, episode 7. Let's get right into it. All right, we got to talk about the Baltimore Bridge collapsing first, because this is literally my two biggest fears happening in one video: a bridge collapsing and a shipwreck. Now, this was absolutely tragic, and if you don't really know what happened yet, watch this 1-minute video I made. If you don't already follow me on TikTok or Instagram, I post these kind of videos every single day of wild stuff going on in the world, so check this out. Conspiracies are starting to surface the internet as people are seeing the ship crash into the Baltimore Bridge at 8x speed. Now, when we look at the video at normal speed, you can see that the ship lost power a few times before hitting the bridge, which is why people think there could have been some type of cyber attack. As the ship turns the corner, you can see it has light and then it turns off, and I believe this is when the Mayday call was sent, where they stopped traffic on the bridge to save as many lives as they can possible. You can see the light here will turn back on. Unfortunately, there were some construction workers working on the bridge, and 6 are presumed to be dead because they can't find their bodies. Now you can see that the ship loses power again right before it hits the bridge. It suddenly turns back on, but at that point it's just a little too late and it hits the bridge. Tate says that it was a cyber attack. Lights go off, deliberately steer towards the bridge supports. Obviously there's no factual information that are backing these conspiracies, but also Alex Jones said the same exact thing, tweeting it and saying, "Looks deliberate to me, a cyber attack is probable, World War III has already started." Man, it's tough to talk conspiracies when lives were lost. There were construction workers filling potholes on the bridge, and 6 are presumed to be dead because we cannot find their bodies. But shout out to the men on the ship that, had a Mayday call and said to stop the traffic on the bridge when they realized that, they lost power. So we see that the power turns off and on and off and on, and obviously that's a little suspicious. And I was reading, and it says on ships like this, you can't steer once the power is off, which is understandable. I don't know much about ships, but that's what I read, and that makes sense why it was crashed, because they, 1, probably couldn't see, and 2, couldn't steer. But the 8x speed, man, I cannot get over how suspicious that looks in 8x speed, where it's literally driving in sharp turns right into the bridge. It's a really tough subject to talk about when something tragic like that has happened and lives were lost and people were injured, but I gotta know what you guys think, so just comment your thoughts, be respectful. But Tate and Alex Jones obviously think it's a cyber attack, and obviously those are big conspiracy guys, and that's their thing to talk about things like that, and so it is for me. But you gotta think of both sides. It's a wild event, and just pray for these people that have been affected by it. Next, we're gonna talk about P. Diddy. Now, this guy had it coming to him. If you don't know what's going on, let me show you another 1-minute video. P. Diddy's homes have been raided in Miami and LA as part of a federal sex trafficking investigations, and his sons were temporarily detained. Armored men then stormed the house and released footage of what was going on inside. Homeland Security ended up taking his electronics as part of the investigation. If you don't know much about Diddy's past, well, in November, Cassie Ventura settled a case saying that she was sexually assaulted. Joy Dickerson Neal says she has evidence in the 90s of her being assaulted. Another one in 2003 of a 17-year-old girl, and recently his producer Lil Rod accusing him of assault and many other things. And from that case, we literally just got new information that P. Diddy was being transferred Tusi, which is a party drug of cocaine mixed with other things. According to the document, Lil Rod witnessed Diddy indulging in cocaine, and when they forgot to bring the desired Tusi, Diddy's assistant, Christina Corum, called Young Miami, who then transported it on Diddy's private jet from Miami to Virginia. The only thing we really heard back from Diddy and his attorney is that this is a witch hunt and that there was a gross overuse of military-level force, as search warrants were executed at Mr. Combs' residences. I guess Diddy is on the run now. I don't know if that is verified yet, but I've been seeing a lot of rumors that he's on the run now. So he didn't get detained himself. I guess he wasn't at the houses when it happened. He was seen outside the airport pacing around. But yeah, Homeland Security took his electronics as part of the sex trafficking case that he I mean, there's a lot of them that he's been a part of. I named them all in that video. My question is, why now? Maybe it's the case he's recently been in where his producer is currently suing him, and we just got another piece of information that Young Miami was transporting him to see, which is cocaine, ketamine, and I think some type of party drug like ecstasy. But after all these years and all these lawsuits, this is the first time we've actually seen something wild like this happen. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because in my older videos, we go through the lawsuits and the details. So you guys pretty much know what's going on with that. But the issue is the guy is a billionaire. So most of the time when he gets sued, he just gives them whatever they're seeking and settles it. They don't go to trial. The guy is a billionaire. So it's like me giving someone $200 and saying, shut up, get over it. Whatever happened to you happened. You're rich now. Here's your $20 million. Well, there must have been something big happen that just can't be ignored. And they're saying it's due to sex trafficking. So something's going on. And the fact that he's pacing around airports and trying to flee and his sons are getting detained and they're bringing armored trucks and seizing all of the electronics. I cannot wait for more news to come out, and I'm going to keep you guys updated. Next, yes, we'll finally talk about it. Let's talk about what happened with Usher. Usher almost thanked the devil for his award on live television. How is no one talking about this? I mean, you can't make this up. Watch this.
Really, really fast. But it's good. It beats with passion. And I'm very honored to be able to receive this amazing award from the depths of my soul.
That was the video. It went extremely viral, almost 9 million views. Usher commented on the video, and every single massive media news outlet posted it. The Shade Room on Instagram, Yahoo News articles, BuzzFeed, a bunch of different hip hop outlets, Vice. I mean, there were so many people that posted it, and I'll tell you what he commented. He said, "Get the hell out of here. God is my Lord and Savior, and the devil is a lie. You got me effed up today. Not today, sir. I never have time for this type of stuff, but today. You're gonna hear this." So I was a bit nervous and jumbled my words when I was speaking from my heart. I hate teleprompters, and they started to rush me because I was getting a bit long-winded. Everyone gets nervous, especially in this position. I was thinking the NAACP and shift to the depths of my soul when my words got mixed. The devil's always at work. Don't let him use my boy. You terrible for even trying to share this. Now, for privacy reasons, I'm not going to tell you what our conversation was just because I don't want to be that guy leaking DMs. But his first message was literally the comment he sent me. And I responded to him. And something I want to get across to you guys and to the people I make videos about is I'm not against you. I'm not against you at all. I'm against the devil and his work. And if you guys have been following me for a long time, you know that I just post things that go on around the world, trying to show the truth. And I usually just let people make their own opinions. I tried telling Usher, I said, I get it. We all get nervous. And if you truly believe in the Lord, just let me know. And I'll make a video and follow up and, explain your true intentions. And I don't know what happened. It just didn't go the way it should have. And it's a tough situation, so I get it. But I hope he actually read my message. I don't know if he did or not. He just kept doubling down on what he first said. But that's what happened. And yeah, I'll be straight up. There's a lot more I would love to say, but I'm not trying to create enemies, especially with people of this power. And that's just not who I am. I told you, I'm not against people. I'm against the devil. And that's it. Didn't go the way I wanted to, but that's the update, and that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm sure you guys know exactly. Yeah. Just move on to the next subject. Quiet on Set. This was an awesome documentary, not for those reasons, but I love that Nickelodeon is getting exposed for what Dan Schneider and all the other sick individuals that were a part of Nickelodeon in the early stages were like. And if you haven't watched it, watch it and come back and watch the rest of this YouTube video because, spoiler alert, you heard it here, spoiler alert, I'm going to give you a whole rundown of the show in about 3 or 4 minutes and in my short form videos that I post on Instagram and TikTok. So watch these couple of videos and then I want to show you a podcast clip that Dan Schneider literally confessed to all of this stuff. It's pretty wild. So check these out first. I watched Quiet on the Set So You Don't Have to Part 2, a docuseries where Dan Schneider, Nickelodeon, and many others got exposed for very disturbing things. If you don't know who Dan Schneider is, he's basically the reason Nickelodeon blew up. He created a lot of the viral shows that we watched when we were kids. He blew up after he helped create All That, which is basically a Saturday Night Live for kids. But after that, he got his first created by show, which was The Amanda Show. At first, there was a little bit of suspicious things on the show, all that he was doing on the show and behind the scenes. But once he created The Amanda Show, we started to really see his red flags. And as the show got more popular and as he got more powerful, things started to get darker and darker. He was underpaying the writers, basically one salary for 2 co-writers, and he was telling these women really inappropriate jokes. He was saying, if you give me a massage, then your skits will be on the show. Tell them dares and pay them to do really weird things. He also had inappropriate pictures and videos on his computer screen visible to them. And if you watch the show back then, Amanda Bynes had a character named Penelope Taint. And if you know what Taint is, just really weird for a child to have that name. And also the hot tub scene where Dan Schneider was in the hot tub with her. They're also saying that as their relationship progressed and the movie got bigger, these two got very, very close. We're going to talk about Jason Handy. Now, viewer discretion is advised. This gets really disturbing. Jason Handy was a production assistant. Supposedly this guy was extremely charismatic, charming, super nice. Everyone loved this guy. Now, the production assistant basically escorts these kids around set. And keep in mind, the parents weren't really allowed on the set at this time. There's this 11-year-old child named Brandy, and she was on The Amanda Show for one episode, and Jason Handy was sending her emails, and one day one of the emails was a picture of him saying that he was thinking of her, and it was a very, very inappropriate picture. The police went to go investigate this man's house, and what they found was absolutely sickening. They found 10,000 pictures of children, 1,768 of them in poses, many CDs of you know what, Ziploc bags of basically tokens from these children, one of them being Brandy, and it was letters from Brandy. The worst part of it all, they found his personal journals, and in these journals, he would admit his thoughts. He would admit how sick he was and how he acted upon them. In one instance, there was a child from a different show, and when he was with this child, he told the child, if you let me do what I want, you can have any role in any show that you want. This man was arrested in 2003 for 6 years. 4 months later, another member of the crew got arrested. Drake Bell has finally broke the silence about the sexual abuse that he experienced while working with Nickelodeon from Brian Peck. This man, who was a dialogue and acting coach, manipulated his way into Drake's life when he was just a child and separated him from his family and got him to sleep over at his house multiple times. I want you to hear it from Drake himself, but keep in mind, Brian did go to jail for about a year and had to register as a sex offender, and when he got out, Disney hired him for The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I mean, that's just wild, but listen to this.
Anytime I would have an audition or anytime I needed to work on dialogue or anything, I somehow ended up back at Brian's house, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And worse. Why don't you do this?
Yeah.
Why don't you think of the worst stuff that someone can do to somebody as a sexual assault, and that'll answer your question. I don't know how else to put it. It was not a one-time thing. It was not a, oops, no, it is, I mean,
Those 3 videos don't do the documentary justice. I still would recommend you go watching it. I just did my best to highlight the really main parts and trying to get a little bit of Dan and Peck and Handy and trying to explain what they did just a little bit, but there's so much sick details, sick in a bad way, that you need to know, and you need to know what these kids went through. It's sad. A lot of people don't believe about the conspiracies and the evil that went through with these kids in the early days of Disney and Nickelodeon, and it's 100% true. There's proof here, and I'm about to show you a podcast where Dan Schneider is literally just sitting down, taking it all, and apologizing. This is corrupt stuff. I mean, you telling people, kids, bribing them and doing things to them for a role on a show, and they really have no choice and they just want to make it on TV. They aren't even 18, like they're not fully developed. They don't understand what's going on. It's pure evil, and there's nothing more that makes me sick than stuff like this. I don't know, just watch this clip.
Watching over the past 2 nights was very difficult. Me facing my past behaviors, some of which are embarrassing and that I regret, and I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology.
Let's talk about the massages.
Okay.
Watching the content yesterday, it was disturbing.
It was wrong. It was wrong that I ever put anybody in that position. It was the wrong thing to do. I'd never do it today. I'm embarrassed that I did it then. I apologize to anybody that I ever put in that situation. And even additionally, I apologize to the people who were walking around Video Village or wherever they happened, because there were lots of people there who witnessed it who also may have felt uncomfortable. So I owe them an apology as well.
Yeah. Dan, talk to me about the writer's room. From what I saw, not cool.
No, and I don't mean to cut you off, but if I can cut right to the chase, let me just say, no writer should ever feel uncomfortable in any writer's room, ever, period, the end, no excuses. Most TV writers, comedy writers have been in writers' rooms, and they are aware that a lot of times there are inappropriate jokes made and inappropriate topics come up. But the fact that I participated in that, especially when I was leading the room, it embarrasses me. I shouldn't have done it. And I can tell you why it hurts really bad for me. I remember very clearly my early experiences, my first experiences in the entertainment business. I was green, I was scared, I was excited. It meant the world to me that I was getting those opportunities. And I went in and I got lucky because they were great. My first couple of experiences were fantastic. And the fact that I didn't pay that forward to every employee that walked through my door, it hurts my heart, because I should have. And I wish I could go back and fix that. In the writer's room, there's no doubt that sometimes those jokes went beyond the pale, and I said things that went too far, or made practical jokes that went too far, and that was wrong. And that was because, I was an inexperienced producer, I was immature, wouldn't have.
Makes you wonder, why did Dan Schneider get on a podcast the day after the docuseries was released? I didn't watch the full podcast. Maybe I should. I'm sure that'll answer my question. He probably tries to just plead his case in a very respectful way throughout the whole podcast. Just my 2 cents. I'm probably right. But yeah, what a wild week. Thank you guys for sticking with me. We're going to make it to the top one day, exposing the truth one day at a time. Thank you for all your support. I love you all so much.